auto companies, and now college loans. The White House pushing to take over the nation's entire student loan program. Private banks out, Uncle Sam in. And Steve says, read between the lines, the government's planning a cradle-to-college welfare state. Steve?
Sure it is. Over 10 years, this will add another $1 trillion to government liabilities. They say the banking sector is making money off of this with the guarantees and all of that. But the idea that the government can do anything more efficiently than the private sector, even if subsidized, we'll just look at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Amtrak. So we have to say no. This is part of Obama's plan to make college education another entitlement, a freebie in the next few years. Very nice, but unaffordable.
Quentin, cradle to grave in college loans. Are you for it or against it?
Boss, I'm sorry, but I'm bugging on this one. Look, we valued higher education. We thought poor people should have access to it. So what did we do? We gave a whole bunch of money to the private sector to make student loans. They then bundled them and leveraged them and traded them from Chicago to Warsaw and made a mess of it. We're talking about cutting them out of it and giving the loans directly to the students. To me, that's cutting out a couple of layers of waste and fraud and bureaucracy. Net good.
But, Bill, here's specifically what the president said when he was talking to union activists last week. He said offering students a complete and competitive education from the cradle to the classroom, from college through a career, the whole life of an individual, cradle to grave.
I've got a message for Quentin. The trouble with you, Quentin, and your socialist friends is that whenever you see something big, you want to nationalize it. Now, the whole theory that the government can make it cheaper because it doesn't have to make a profit is absurd.
Education.
Look at the Postal Service. Somehow the Postal Service can't compete with FedEx, even though they have billions of our taxpayer dollars ladled into it. No.
Hold on. Let's talk to a Princeton grad right here. What do you think, Evelyn?
Look, the government is going to be involved regardless. They are the lender of last resort currently for college loans. Now, when we look at the current system, there's a lot of waste. When we give these subsidies to lenders, that's a huge amount of waste right there. This reform will actually cut that out, about $87 billion in savings that will actually go to paying loans for other students who are low income, for example. That's actually helpful for the system.
Well, Mike Ozani, does it matter at all that the American public doesn't want this, that when they're polled, we had a Fox News poll just this week, 54% said these government takeovers are a bad idea. Only 33% said it was a good idea. Does that matter at all?
I don't think it matters to the president because I think in his heart he believes in socialism. But the problem with taxpayer subsidies, David, is they always cause the price to go up. Look what happened when we subsidized ethanol. The price of corn and other farm products shot through the roof. That's the main problem, and a lot of the money is wasted. Over the last 20 years, enrollment in colleges and universities went up 40%. But guess what? Full-time staffers, that increased 100%. They have environmental protection people now. Like, what does that have to do with
Evelyn was
people?
raising her hand. Go ahead, Evelyn.
Mike, subsidies are not always evil. We subsidized the purchase of new homes recently, and that actually did help.
What better example do you need?
But also beyond that, the government's role in student loans has been enlarging since this past year. When the credit markets froze, who was a lender that had to come in to buy up?
But isn't it time, Gwen, I think this is Mike's point, isn't it time to stop what doesn't work?
Well, then we shouldn't have any subsidies to the banks at all. It should just be no government involvement whatsoever.
We all agree with that.
By the way, Bill, the U.S. Postal Service sends a letter for 45 cents. What does FedEx charge?
Well, I think the service is a little bit better at FedEx, and it's interesting.
FedEx doesn't lose money the way the post office does.
A statute that makes it illegal for you to send a first-class mail,
they'd make money, and you'd complain about them.
Again, what about to Mike's point, the fact that it's time to stop doing what we know doesn't work?
Well, that's right. When government gets into it, again, the idea, oh, we cut out profit, we'll make it cheaper. It ends up making it more expensive because they don't have the market incentive to make things more affordable and more productive. Incentives undermine it in the same way. And again, colleges going up rapidly, administration's going up rapidly because we're subsidizing it. We're hurting students, not helping them.
That's the last word. Nothing nice about these rude moments, but there is something nice.